But one thing we're really hoping to get more information about tonight is this. While the pandemic is impacting every community in this country, it's having a particularly devastating impact on communities of color, including African-American communities, particularly in some of the nation's hotspots. In Louisiana, African-Americans comprise a third of the population, but account for 70% of the coronavirus deaths. In Michigan, African-Americans make up 14% of that state's population, but account for a third of the state's coronavirus cases and 40% of the state's death toll. And in New York, the epicenter of this pandemic, African-Americans account for 28% of the deaths in New York City. That's far more than their percentage of the population, and 18% of the deaths outside of the city, twice their population of the state. Today, New York Governor Andrew Cuomo not only called out the discrepancy, but also called for more research into the root cause of it.
Why is it that the poorest people always pay the highest price? But let's figure it out. Let's do the work. Let's do the research. Let's learn from this moment, and let's learn these lessons, and let's do it now.
So as we await this White House briefing in which President Trump will face questions about the federal response to this pandemic, we're forced to confront some uncomfortable questions as well. This virus is putting a spotlight on a huge problem we know exists in this country. We don't talk enough about it. Sometimes we only talk about it, but we don't do anything about it. The coronavirus does not discriminate, but a lot of other factors do, like the lack of equal access to health care. Hello, YouTubers. If you're watching this, it means you've checked out our channel, so thank you. Now do me a favor, subscribe by clicking on that button down there. Click on any of the videos to watch the latest interviews and highlights from MTP Daily and MSNBC. You can get more Meet the Press content every morning in the First Read newsletter. If you're tired of content that you don't know anything about where it came from, you don't have to have that problem with us. NBC News, MSNBC, MTP, and the Meet the Press mindset right here for you on YouTube. Subscribe now.